have this wild theory that all Endermen in Minecraft are actually Steve from one of his previous life cycles. Now, if you've seen my theory videos before, you know I believe Steve lives in an endless cycle of world resets. Each time he finishes a life either by living to old age or perishing early to monsters or even going the distance and defeating the Ender Dragon, he always starts fresh in a new world shortly after with no memory of his past life. And each one of these cycles can leave behind something in the next iteration of his world. So for example, if Steve in one of his lives decides to settle down, start a family, and live out his days into old age, he would probably establish a village, and then when the next Steve gets into the new iteration of that world, he would see these villages left behind from all the previous Steves that have made that same decision. The same goes for another part of this theory, that if Steve is slain by a monster and his life is cut short, then he leaves behind a corpse that is then turned into a zombie or skeleton for the next Steve to have to do battle with in his version of the world. But what happens if Steve goes the distance, makes it all the way to the end, and slays the Ender Dragon? Well, I think what happens in these cases is actually pretty dark and not what people would expect. I think once Steve defeats the Ender Dragon in his iteration of the world, he has hopes to continue exploring. He's already conquered the Nether, the overworld, so clearly his next journey awaits him in the vastness of the end. But Steve, with his insatiable lust for adventure, finds himself staying in the end for too long, and the powers within start to take their toll on Steve in multiple different ways. And while these changes start slow at first, he does start to lose his ability to communicate, his movements start to become jarring, almost as if he's skipping through time and space in short bursts, and then finally, towards the end, he notices that his body is physically changing. His limbs begin to elongate, his skin starts to change, and his eyes begin to glow a vibrant purple. Pretty soon, Steve doesn't even remember why he is there or what he was doing in the first place. And with the last remnants of his coherent mind, he decides to head back through the portal to the overworld, but when he does, he realizes that he is no longer even human at all. And this Steve's life cycle is concluded here, but this new thing he has become remains behind as what we know as an Enderman. And he's left in this world for the next Steve variant as a warning that this could happen to him if he is unable to control his lust for adventure in the end. But what do I know? This is just a theory after all. All that matters is what you think. So make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.